بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم
الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله حي على الصلاة حي على الصلاة حي على الفلاح حي على الفلاح الله أكبر الله أكبر لا إله إلا الله
أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله أما بعد فأعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم This is chapter 2, verse 62. إن الذين آمنوا والذين هادوا والنصارى والصائبين من آمن بالله واليوم الآخر وعمل صالحا فلهم أجرهم عند ربهم ولا خوف عليهم ولا هم يحزنون. Surely those who believe, and those who are Jews, and the Christians, and the Sabians, whoever believes in Allah and the last day and does good, they have their reward with their Lord, and there is no fear for them, nor shall they grieve. And the next is chapter 99, verses 6, 7, and 8. Yawma izin yahurun nasu talli yuro amalahum faman ya'mal mithqala dharratin khayran yarah ومن يعمل مثقال ذرة شرا يره. And on that day, men will come forth in sundry bodies, that they may be shown their works. So he who does an atom's weight of good will see it, and he who does an atom's weight of evil will see it. I've recited these verses, Sadaqallahul Aliyul Azim. I have recited these verses because of two things that have happened in the last week. Two people have gone to meet their Maker. One person, not so well known outside the UK, called Bill Turnbull. He was a television presenter. He used to present the morning breakfast show. And the other one is Mikhail, Gorbachev. And each, in his own way, served humanity. Mikhail Gorbachev served humanity by ending war, the Cold War, agreeing to disarming USSR's nuclear arsenal. And these were great services to humanity. We saw that when during the Cold War in, I think it was 1961 or 62, when there was the Cuba Missile Crisis, which nearly brought the world to the brink of destruction. So, to agree to disarm simultaneously with the USA was a great and courageous step. As were other things that he did. And but his countrymen, particularly those in leadership now, dislike him because his actions had an unintended consequence, which was the breakup of the USSR. And many countries which were part of USSR left it. And today we have Russia and other countries like Ukraine and so on. And this ended the status of USSR as a superpower. Bill Turnbull's contribution in some ways may be regarded as more modest in comparison with what Gorbachev did. He was a television presenter who ignored symptoms of his ill health until it was too late, when he was diagnosed with prostate cancer. And by the time he was diagnosed, it was too late to treat him successfully. And he then started a campaign to make people aware of the dangers of this cancer. which if caught early can be successfully treated, but if left, the consequences are very serious. And his campaign meant that many people who would have ignored their symptoms went to their doctors, were diagnosed and either declared clear, or if it was found that they suffered from prostate cancer, then they were successfully treated. And that campaign saved many, many lives. These two gentlemen, what they did was for humanity. And they didn't do it, in my opinion, they didn't do it for worldly gain, but they did it to serve humanity. Now, this question generally arises, and people ask whether such people who are not Muslims and they do good deeds, whether they'll be rewarded or not. But when we ask such questions, we forget Islamic history, because there have been many non-Muslims who supported the Holy Prophet Muhammad in his early studies. Should they be rewarded by Allah or not? Because they didn't embrace Islam. To start off with was his grandfather. As we all know, the Holy Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam was an orphan. His grandfather was a mushrik, an idol worshipper. And when Abdullah, the Holy Prophet Sallam's father, died, he took the Holy Prophet Muhammad into care. But that only lasted for a few years. And the grandfather then died, leaving the Holy Prophet without a guardian again. And now Holy Prophet's uncle, Abu Talib, took over from the grandfather. And he treated him like a son. Abu Talib's circumstances, financial circumstances, weren't great. And yet he still treated the Holy Prophet as his son. He took the Holy Prophet with him on his trade journeys and taught him everything that the Holy Prophet knew. He taught him the art of trade, how to become a successful businessman. But more importantly, he provided the Holy Prophet Muhammad with protection against the Quraysh. When the Holy Prophet Muhammad was being persecuted. And it was because of this protection that other leaders of the Quraysh dare not touch or harm the Holy Prophet Muhammad. But these weren't the only people. These are well-known examples, and you would say, well, they're members of the family. But the answer to that is, well, they may be members of the family, but they were non-Muslims. They were non-Muslims. Will they be rewarded for their good deeds in protecting the Holy Prophet Muhammad or not? That is the point we're discussing, not whether they're family members or not. But another answer to the comment that they were family members is this, that as we know that at one stage, the Holy Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam and Hazrat Abu Bakr radiyallahu ta'ala, they went to Taif to preach and propagate Islam there, and there they were attacked, and they were returning from Taif. But Abu Talib had passed away. And the Holy Prophet Muhammad was left unprotected, defenseless. To survive in those days in Arabia, in Makkah in particular, you needed the patronage of someone regarded as a strong leader, as an important leader. So the Holy Prophet Muhammad himself wrote to several non-Muslims, and asked for protection. And it was one gentleman called Motin Ibn Ali who agreed to provide that protection. And he asked his sons to put on their armor and station themselves on the corner of the house. That is, not the Holy Prophet's house, but Kaaba. Because he said, I have granted Muhammad protection and immunity. And when the Holy Prophet Muhammad walked into Makkah, he was protected by Motin and his sons, who were fully armed. They had their armor on and carried other weapons. I mean, look at the courage of these people. It was a handful of people. And they were protecting the Holy Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam from the attacks of the people who were their comrades. Maybe they agreed on religious principles with these Quraysh. And in fact, when he entered Makkah, he declared in a loud voice, O people of Quraysh, listen. It is true I have granted protection to Muhammad, so let no one among you harm him. So what would you say to that person? He has put his life, he has put his sons' lives in danger to protect the Holy Prophet Muhammad. Would Allah reward them for this deed or not? Of course, we have Najashi, who was a Christian king. When persecution became too much, the Holy Prophet allowed some Muslims who didn't belong to prominent families and so on, who had no patronage or protection, to migrate to the kingdom of a Christian king and seek sanctuary there, political asylum in today's terminology. And that Christian king gave those people sanctuary. In Bukhari it says that when the Holy Prophet Muhammad heard of Najashi's death, he stood up and he announced, your brother has passed away. Let us say his funeral prayers. Listen to the words. Your brother, a Christian. The Holy Prophet didn't say Christian, I'm saying the Christian. The Holy Prophet says, your brother has passed away. Let us say his funeral prayers. We talk about acting on hadith and so on and so forth. Bukhari is regarded as the most authentic of books after the Holy Quran. So how about this hadith? Why are these things overlooked? Why do we only hear about harshness and killing and etc., etc. And then all this was before Hijrah, when the Holy Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam migrated to Medina. He entered into a treaty. It's called the Misake Medina, Constitution of Medina, or Treaty of Medina, and it allowed every citizen of Medina freedom of religion, freedom of conscience. The responsibility it placed on its citizens were these: that every citizen, regardless of his religion, will be loyal to the state of Medina, and if it's attacked, will help protect it. And at the time of Uhud, the Holy Prophet sent word to some Jewish tribes who lived near Medina that Quraysh were coming to attack and support were needed. So some Jews, they didn't want to fight, so they made an excuse. They said, well, today is Sabbath, so we are not allowed to do anything on Sabbath. But one Mikhail, a Jewish rabbi, he said, there is no Sabbath today. And he took his armor and his sword and he went out, saying, if I'm killed, then my wealth will go to Muhammad and he can do whatever he pleases with it. And he went to Uhud and he fought until his last breath. What do you say about him? Will Allah reward him or not? He gave his life to protect the Prophet of Allah. He was not a Muslim. He was a Jew. He gave his life to protect the Holy Prophet Muhammad. He gave his life to protect the companions of Holy Prophet Muhammad. Shoulder to shoulder with them, he fought until he died. And the Holy Prophet, I believe, said somewhere that he was the best of people. The verses that I recited earlier on, especially chapter 99, it said that, if I can find it, on that day men will come forth in sundry bodies that they may be shown their works. It doesn't say Muslims, it said men, human beings. All of them, regardless of religion, will come. And then it goes on to say, and they'll be shown their works, they did. And then it says, so he who does an atom's weight of good will see it, and he who does an atom's weight of evil will see it. Doesn't say the Muslim who does an atom's weight worth of good. The person, it says. There's no mention of religion here. And when we talk, we say, well, non-Muslims will get their reward in this world, and Muslims will get their reward in the hereafter, and so on and so forth. Okay, let me ask you this question. Holy Prophet's uncle, what reward did he get in this world for protecting the Holy Prophet Muhammad? Nothing. He was constantly under pressure from the Holy Prophet Sallam's opponents to withdraw his protection so that they can now kill this orphan. But he refused. He didn't get anything in this world. What about the person, the Jewish rabbi who died fighting for the Muslims? What reward did he get? He was killed doing his duty. The difficulty is this, that, the verses I've recited, are we going to say that Allah will violate his own commands by not rewarding these people? The difficulty is this, that we have taken over the mantle of Godhead. We want to decide who goes to heaven and who goes to hell. We want to decide who is rewarded in this world and who is rewarded in the hereafter. And that is the difficulty. Rather than treat human beings as human beings with respect and courtesy, and helping them if they need help. We've forgotten these things, but we want to play God. We want to decide who will go to hell and who will go to heaven. There was a lady whose son died, and the Holy Prophet was there, and standing on her son's grave, she said, Allah will grant you a great place in heaven. And the Holy Prophet said, O woman, do not say that of which you have no knowledge. I am a prophet of Allah, and I don't know. And I don't know. Listen to these words. Judgment is in Allah's hands, not your hands and not my hands. This is what our Holy Prophet said, that Allah will judge everyone, including me, and I don't know what he will do and what he will decide. But yet, we have the arrogance. There's no other word for it. It's a harsh word, but we have the arrogance of saying that this person will go to heaven and that person will go to hell, etc. We should stop worrying about other people's deeds and worry about our own. And if we can help someone, then help them. Barakallahu lana wa lakum fil Qur'anil Azim wa nafa'ana wa iyyakum bil ayati wa zikril hakim innahu ta'ala jawadun kareemun malikun barraufur rahim. Alhamdulillah, alhamdulillah, nahmaduhu wa nasta'inuhu wa nastaghfiruhu wa nu'minu bihi wa natawakkalu alayhi wa na'udzu billahi min shururi anfusina wa min sayyiati a'malina man yahdihillahu fala mudilla lahu wa man yudlilhu fala hadiya lahu. وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله. اللهم صل على محمد وعلى آل محمد كما صليت على إبراهيم وعلى آل إبراهيم إنك حميد مجيد. اللهم بارك على محمد وعلى آل محمد كما باركت على إبراهيم وعلى آل إبراهيم إنك حميد مجيد. اللهم انصر من نصر دين محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم واجعلنا منهم. واخذل من خذل دين محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم ولا تجعلنا منهم. عباد الله رحمكم الله إن الله يأمر بالعدل والإحسان وإيتاء ذي القربى وينهى عن الفحشاء والمنكر والبغي يعظكم لعلكم تذكرون. اذكروا الله يذكركم واتقوه يستجب لكم ولذكر الله أكبر والله يعلم ما تصنعون. الله أكبر الله أكبر أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله حي على الصلاة حي على الفلاح قد قامت الصلاة قد قامت الصلاة. الله أكبر لا إله إلا الله. الله أكبر. الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين آمين. إنا أعطيناك الكوثر فصل لربك وانحر إن شانئك هو الأبتر. الله أكبر. سمع الله لمن حمده ربنا الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين آمين. قل أعوذ برب الفلق من شر ما خلق ومن شر النفاثات في العقد ومن شر حاسد إذا حسد. الله أكبر. سمع الله لمن حمده ربنا الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. Allahu Akbar. Allahu Akbar. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. During recitation, I got distracted by something and lost my place. This is why I did an extra sajda, or the prostration of forgetfulness or error, to ask for forgiveness for making the mistake. Thank you for joining us for today's service. On Monday, inshallah, at 7 p.m. UK time, we'll have Tadabburul Quran, and at 7:30 we will have reflections on the Holy Quran, when we look at the use of words in the Holy Quran. Until then, I request you to pray, particularly for people of Pakistan, because they've had massive floods. Nearly 40% of the country is underwater. There's a huge lake that has been formed in Sindh, which is some 60 miles by 130 miles, which may take weeks or months to dry. So everything that was there is submerged. People have lost homes, crops, animals, basically their livelihood. They're sleeping by the roadside, etc. So please pray for them. And if you can find some money or some time to help them, then please help them. I know there are some sects who are objecting to Ahmadis helping people, but we don't ask anyone's religion. We don't ask about their sect. We don't ask about what language they speak or whatever. All we see is a human being in need of assistance, and we provide that assistance, which is a duty that God has laid upon all Muslims, and which Hazrat Mirza Sahib stressed. So please do your best. Assalamu alaikum, Khuda Hafiz, goodbye until we meet again.